to Black Coffee and Grits. I'm Lisa. It's December. I'm trying to get in the spirit. I started decorating, but it's not all done yet. I have a naked tree still and some sprinklings of decor around, but a lot still to put away. It'll happen. I just decided that I needed to take a break from that decorating and record a Flosstube. It's, like I said, December, and it kind of snuck up on me because I felt like it shouldn't even be November, and poof, it was gone. So last time I saw you, I was getting ready to go on my retreat to stitching in the Smokies, and it was amazing. I had the best time. I got to spend the week with the most amazing ladies, and it was an incredible retreat. Stacy and Brian did an amazing job putting on the retreat. There wasn't any, I have zero complaints about it. It was just an incredible event. Went off without a hitch. We had a fabulous designer there that I got to actually sit with. That was really super fun. Karen and I, she was like, how did we get to sit with cross stitch royalty? We were sitting with Missy and Kathy of Two Needles Pulling Thread, and Tammy Totten, and Susan of Sweet Wings Studio. So that was incredible. And we were surrounded by lots more friends. I think we had two or three more tables besides ours of friends. So that was so awesome. And before the weekend was over, we had, of course, accumulated more friends. And that is what's so great about going to cross stitch retreats, is spending all that time with people and oohing and awing over the things that you both adore. So I feel like, poof, I hope you had a really great Thanksgiving, because I went on my trip to stitching in the Smokies, and then it just poof, like it was Thanksgiving, and now here it is, time to decorate for Christmas. So I want to catch you up on all the things that I stitched on in November. I'm a little late recording this. We've had things, like there's been a lot of doctor's appointments, so I'll catch you up on that too. And then I guess I'm not that late. What is today? Today's the 3rd of December, so it could be worse. This will probably actually not get uploaded until Thursday the 4th. But again, totally okay. I guess there's no cross stitch police. So far, I haven't seen them anyways. Don't send them if you know where they are. So let's see. I'll report on my health first, and then I'll circle back and tell you more about stitching in the Smokies too, because I had a great time on that trip. But yesterday I went to the doctor, and I was, I think I told you maybe right before. Okay, I think when I recorded last, I told you that I was going to get to see a specialist. I was going to see a functional doctor, and I had that appointment after I got back from stitching in the Smokies. And fortunately, I think I kind of turned a corner maybe after taking those 2 rounds of steroids, because I had a good trip and I was feeling better and I was feeling more myself. So thankfully I had more energy and, could enjoy myself and not get too worn out on that big long drive. The road trip was amazing though. More details about that too. But so I met with the functional doctor. He wanted to do some more blood work. And then I met with him again yesterday, so to review the blood work. So basically, he told me, you're pretty healthy, and everything checked out on my blood work. So everything was within range. Now, he said this partly could be that my inflammatory markers are down because of the rounds of steroids that I took. So, he's like, I'm kind of taking this with a grain of salt, at least that marker. But everything else looks good. Like I don't have lupus. He doesn't think I have rheumatoid arthritis. He said that I didn't really have any other autoimmune markers. So that was great. So what we're dealing with is still fibromyalgia, which is not a fun thing to deal with, but he was very encouraging, and he wanted me to try a new medication, and it's just one medication. So it wasn't a big long list of medications. So, I was open to that, and I've been on it for a little over 2 weeks now, and I'm feeling a lot better. Like I feel like I'm resting better, I'm sleeping better, I feel calmer. I think that my nervous system is just kind of calmed down. So that's a good thing. And so far, I would say out of the 12 days, only had like one day only one bad day, like with pain. So that's incredible. And if you have fibromyalgia, I feel for you because I know what it's like and it's terrible. And sometimes when you're in a flare up, there are 0 days without pain, and that's miserable, absolutely miserable. And it's hard when you get in that pain cycle to get out of it, especially if you're trying to do it like I was without any medication. So, like I said, I was a little bit more open to taking some medication. I haven't had any more hives since the prednisone. I think I had one day where my skin was a little bit sensitive, but I think we turned a corner. I'm so glad. And yeah, I won't have to go back to the doctor until like he said, let's check in 3 months and do some more blood work. So that feels good that he like kind of turned me loose, and so that's encouraging. So hopefully, assuming that nothing else flares up or I don't have any other problems. Now, of course, he's like, please call if you do. So I promise I won't be crazy and suffer with hives like that again. I've been doing a lot of stitching. I've been doing some FFOs. I went on a sew day. Like I said, I went on an amazing retreat. So just quickly, before I start showing you all the stitching stuff, going to the Smoky Mountains has been like a bucket list trip for me. I have wanted to go for a very long time. And when I met Stacy and she said that she was going to be doing a retreat there, I was like, sign me up. So I think it's been kind of in the works for more than a couple of years. I know I signed up probably a year ago before going to the retreat. And then I think previous to that, she was trying to get her shop established and everything. So that was really cool to get to go there because I love the mountains and I wanted to go and see it. And I wanted to drive there particularly because I wanted to drive my Bronco on the Blue Ridge Parkway, and met up with my friend Karen who has a Jeep. And so we did like Jeep Bronco things a couple days and drove a bit of the parkway. The weather was incredible. It was the most beautiful, serene, perfect, picture perfect fall that you could ever ask for. It was like the perfect week to go. The leaves were turning, some were falling. It was gorgeous. I couldn't have asked for better weather. The weather was great. I would say like highs in the 60s, lows in the 40s. And then on the very last day of the retreat, it snowed. And so for a Texas girl, I welcome snow and I think it's fun. It's like enamoring. I want to watch it snow. I just want to sit and watch it like I'm in a snow globe because it doesn't snow here much. So it wasn't snowing in Pigeon Forge the morning that I woke up and I was going to leave. So I was like, I'm going to drive to Gatlinburg and say goodbye to the mountains. And so when I got to Gatlinburg, it was snowing and I got to see this one area. I'll pop in some pictures where I had been the previous like week. And it was just really cool to see. It was like a change of the seasons. It was like, here's what it looks like in fall and here's what it's going to look like in winter. And so that was really cool. And I drove back to Pigeon Forge. It actually snowed on me all the way to Nashville. And I tried to like take my time driving and not overdo it. I think some days I drove like 6 hours maybe only. But I was content with that. And then other days I drove maybe a little bit more. But I stopped in Nashville and had lunch one day and kind of walked around. I found a good place with gluten-free food. I had really good luck with gluten-free food the whole trip. Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge had really great restaurant options, and everything was like well labeled, and people were knowledgeable and kind, and they came and asked, they served the food with like allergen picks, which I love that because then you got your right food. And when you've had as much problems as I've had the last few months, it was important to me. So it made a big difference and it meant a lot. I also stopped coming and going in Little Rock, Arkansas, which has some really good gluten-free options too. Actually, on the way home, I told my husband, I want to move to Little Rock because not only is Shepherd's Needle there, and I did go shopping there, but also the food was really great. And it's pretty there. It's hilly and I don't know, just different. So, not as busy as the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I think I'm kind of craving a little less city in my life, but I don't know. That's probably not going to happen. Okay, enough about all that. It's been 10 minutes. Let me show you some things I've been finishing. Okay, so I got to get my head on straight. I know I'm trying to remember what else I told you and what I showed you in the last video, and it really doesn't matter. Let me show you what I've been finishing. Okay, so it was my goal to finish stitching this pillow right here. Count Your Blessings. This is an Bent Creek pattern called Uber Turkey. And so I worked on this a lot after stitching in the Smokies retreat. I kind of made it my focus piece. I worked on one other piece. I was very like focused stitcher at the retreat. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes I'm all over the place and starting a million things. But I worked on this and I got it finished, and we had a sew day, so I was able to FFO it, and this is the biggest pillow I've ever finished, so it's stuffed to the gills, but I actually used a pillow form that I already had, so I think I'm happy with it. I think it turned out cute. At the end of the day, I was like, well, I could have jazzed it up with some more trim or whatever, but it's really a fun piece. I stitched this on 10 count Tula, so that's why it's so big. Let me see if I can zoom you in a little bit on some of the stitching, with 6 strands of DMC floss. So I did do the called for colors on this, what was called for from on the Uber Turkey pattern. And then I used vintage country mocha for the Tula. So I found this, I think I got this at Cecilia's up in Branson, Missouri, the fabric. And so I was excited. I stitched another thing that I FFO'd. I'll go ahead and show these side by side. So I also stitched my Prairie Schooler Santa on vintage country mocha 10 count Tula as well. I got the fabric for these at the same time. I did pearl cottons on my Prairie Schooler Santa. I think this is the 24 Santa. I'm pretty sure. And my apologies because I've put these patterns away, but I'm pretty sure it's the 24 Santa. And I stitched it with the pearl cottons and I stitched this with the DMCs. And I guess for comparison's sake, I think I personally like stitching with the DMCs a little bit better. I don't know, they're both okay, but the texture for the pearl cottons is a little bit bumpy. So on our sew day, I put this together and I found this really cute houndstooth fabric, which was like the perfect colors. And then I just popped in like a little accent color in the corner. I need to iron this one more time. It's been in my sewing bag. I need to order a pillow form for this because it's kind of an oddball size. I wanted the stitching part to really stand out, of course, so I think I left like an inch or that's probably an inch and a half band around the stitching, and then I think I cut my my quilted pieces, or they're not actually quilted, but you know, a pieced cotton the same width. I'm pretty sure is what I decided to do, something like that. Pretty close anyways. I think it ended up coming out a little bit smaller, of course, because of my margins for seaming, my seaming allowances. Okay, so I need to order a pillow form for this because I want to get this out and put it on my front bench. It felt so good to like do some FFOing and some stuff that I had kind of been putting off. So another finish that I got, which I really wasn't planning on finishing this, but I guess I wasn't done stitching Thanksgiving. Like I was still full after going to the Smokies and seeing the fall. And even though it snowed on the way home, I was still very much like it's not quite Thanksgiving yet. I want to stay on Thanksgiving. So I didn't finish the pillow. I got the whole turkey stitched while I was at the retreat on the Uber turkey. But then when I got home, actually a little bit on the way home, I worked on this part. And then when I got home, I finished the letters, which, you know, those go pretty fast typically. But I got it finished before Thanksgiving. And we had our sew day on the 22nd. So it was like the weekend prior to Thanksgiving. So it was a lot of fun. Another fun outing with friends. And I wasn't really planning on working on this anymore, but I did. And I got it all sewn up, but I haven't stuffed it, as you can see. It's still flat. But I finished all the stitching on this. This is Ye Old Crow by Heart and Hand. And so if you remember, I was kind of on the fence about whether or not I wanted to do the color on this piece. And I had seen an Instagram inspiration, and I had shown that. And I did end up going ahead and using the orange and the green accents on the pumpkin and the vines. And I love how it turned out. I think it turned out so cute. So got my initials in there and the year 2025. And then I just used some homespun. I guess I had this in stash to sew up the back. And then I've got a really cute piece of this bright green felt that matches the vines. So I love how it turned out. Now hurry up and get it finished. Now, actually, there's not really a big giant rush anymore now because I've started putting away all the Thanksgiving stuff and getting out the Christmas stuff. But that led to another FFO. Actually, I had 3 FFOs technically in November. Those were the 3 I just showed you. And then I also did 3 more. Was it yesterday or the day before? Whatever day I started getting out like my Christmas decor. So remember this? I sewed this last year. It was sitting in the bin, ready for me to FFO. This is Be Jolly, and this is from, I'll pop in a picture from Just Cross Stitch magazine. The pattern, it was from, I think, the 2024 magazine, but I'll pop in a picture so I'm not telling you a fib. But he is so cute, cute little Santa. I stitched it up on this check Lugana. I think it's called barn board check, if I remember correctly. And then I put a Jabco button for his little hat topper. Isn't that so cute? I love how it turned out. I did pick my own colors on this. I do know that they were all up on Instagram. If you ever want to know what those are, just ask. I'll be glad to send them over to you or pop a comment, answer you back in the comments here on YouTube. Ask me anyway, but I was happy to get him finished. I'll show you the back too. This was just a little charm pack from leftover from I think a sewing mat that I made, and it's just like a feed sack kind of line. And then I got some labels from my friends over at Sweetwater, and I really liked how my FFO turned out for the Smalls Exchange, so I ordered some more of these because that was so easy to just iron that on and be done with it. And I love the fact that it, you know, obviously they have all kinds of different ones. So this one was the little Santa hat sort of theme, and it has my name on it, so that's kind of fun. Memorialize some things. I don't always do that. I don't always sign every piece. Okay, 2 more finishes. Are you ready? I already had these frames. Michelle and I did like a huge FFO day a while back, and we went to Michael's and Hobby Lobby and all the things. And so I had picked up these frames, and then I kind of ran out of steam and decided, okay, I have these, but I'll finish them when it's closer to time to display them. So let's see. This is a frame from, doesn't say. I'm thinking this one was Michael's. So it's just a little 5x7 frame. And this is the piece that I finished stitching last year at some point. This is Winter Typography by Pine Mountain Designs. And I've stitched this whole series. So this one I stitched on a really fun sparkly fabric. I'm trying to remember whose fabric that was now. That's been a minute. I'm sure details are also up on Instagram. And I did pick my own colors. I did a lot of really fun, variegated fancy flosses, most of which I think were color and cotton flosses. So I like how this turned out. Perfect little frame. And I just got it sitting up here. It's kind of where I always put my seasonal cross stitch. Okay, one more that I stitched and I bought last year at the Jingle Ball, and the Jingle Ball is coming up this weekend. Who's excited about that? So this was one of, oh goodness, I should have written down notes because I have notes for all of my whips, but these finishes, some of these were done a while back. I need to sit here and think for a second. This is from Liz Matthews. I think it was just called The Night Before Christmas, pretty sure. And obviously it's just the words. And this was a Jingle Ball exclusive last year. Now, I don't know if it's since been released. Perhaps it has. I think usually they hold those for like a year. I don't know. Some of them are completely Jingle Ball exclusives. Forgive me for not knowing, but at any rate, it's a Liz Matthews chart. And I stitched it on a piece of Lugana. I think this was called Pistachio. It's a really fun variegated Lugana, and I really like how it turned out too. And I just picked up a little inexpensive gold frame. I think this was also from Michael's. So I love it. I'm ready to go hang it up. And I feel like it needs to be displayed next to a Santa. What do you think? Okay, so those were all of the FFOs, and is that all of the finishes too? Let's see. Yes, that would be, because I had two finishes, which was Ye Olde Crow and Uber Turkey. And the other FFOs were things that I had already previously stitched. They were just in the bin. So I have a list of things from years past that are sitting there waiting for me to FFO. And this is not a very neat system, but I just jotted them down in the back of my cross stitch planner, and like each season I'll go through and look at the list and say like, oh, I have this or that you know is seasonally appropriate that I can go and grab out of my piles of things that are finished that need to be FFO'd. So it's actually getting down pretty small. I think it was 2 years ago I had set a goal to do an FFO, 2 FFOs a month. And so that really kind of helped me whittle away what was sitting there piled up. It was quite a big pile. There's still some on there. Don't worry. There's more to come. And hopefully there's actually still some more Christmas pieces too. So I still might get those done before the end of the month. We shall see. So before I get to talking about December, let me go back and show you what I stitched in November, the whips that I stitched on. So the other thing that I took to stitching in the Smokies with an intent to focus on was this piece. And I haven't been showing charts because I've been showing all these previous finishes, but I have the chart for this. So let me grab it and show it to you. If I can remember which project bag it's in. Oh, it's in this cute little project bag with the A-frame houses. This is Autumn Traditions Sampler by Tiny Modernist. And I started this last year and I had finished half of it. And my goal was to finish another quarter. Didn't quite get there, but I did make some progress on this. I'm stitching this with the DMCs on 32 count Michelle from Grace Notes Fabrics. It's this really lovely mottled blue. And I love how it's turning out. Like, it's really bright and fun colors. I think I did substitute just grits, the white. So I finished the border, which I was so glad it met up, and I worked on this little house that's in that sort of third quarter quadrant. And so I got the mouse, not mouse, that's not a mouse, that's an owl. An owl in there on top of the house. And yeah, got that all filled in. And that was fun to work on at the retreat. It felt so accomplished. When I had finished the house, I felt I should go ring the bell. I didn't ring the bell because it wasn't really finished, but I wanted to. So I'll be putting this one away for the season, and I'll get it back out next year and make some more progress on it. But I was happy with what I got accomplished. Okay, let me put this to the side. What else did I stitch on at the retreat? I stitched on Uber Turkey, and I was really good. Now, I have haul out the wazoo to show you. And I actually didn't have a start. I know, check my temperature. It doesn't even seem right. But I did, after I got home, start the retreat piece. And I told you I was lucky enough to sit with Susan of Sweet Wing Studio at my table, and she is a hoot and such a sweet lady. So this is what she designed for us. This was perfect, and I love it so much. It's called In the Mountains, and it says heaven is a little closer in the mountains. And after having spent, a couple days in the Smokies, I was like, oh, this is perfect to like commemorate my trip. And like I said, I love the mountains, whether it be the Smokies or the Rockies or wherever I'm going. I love the mountains. So when I got home, they had given us the kit. Well, I should say they had given us all of the flosses at the retreat. And I want to show you these, although this is a mess. I have like floss going everywhere. But I wanted to show you this cute little floss ring that I got. This is a little bear, and it's embroidered. And oh my gosh, I'm not going to remember the lady's name who made these, but I have some more of them in haul, so stay tuned for that. But she took pre-orders for these, and I just had to have him. It was so cute. I didn't get to see a bear in Gatlinburg. I was quite surprised. I heard stories about them sitting on cars while I was in the park. I was glad I didn't actually have that sort of an experience, but I was very cautious with food. I know that they're often attracted to the food that's left in the cars, so I was really good about not leaving food in the car. I didn't want him to wreck my Bronco. Okay, so they had given us the flosses at the retreat center, and the call for fabric that this is stitched on is malachite. And so on my way home, they had some at the retreat center, but it sold quickly, and I really wanted 32 count linen. I think there was some Ada left over, but I really wanted to stitch it on 32 count linen. And actually, I knew that I had some at home and stashed, but I had already like dedicated another piece to it. But I was willing to, I guess, fight over it if I had to with myself for another project, like steal it from another project. But when I went to Shepherd's Needle in Little Rock on the way home, they had some more. So I went ahead and picked up another piece. So you're seeing a little bit of haul. And actually, I'm gonna back up and show you a little bit more haul. This is a Como Stitches bag that I fell in love with and had to have, and it was perfect to hold this bag. She does these little, I think she calls them minis, the bags, but they're perfect for this half size pattern. I also got to meet Jess at the retreat, and she's so sweet, and we had a great time, and love her bags. She obviously makes really cute, awesome bags. And this was a detail that I noticed she puts in this little piece of trim, sews it in, and then you can attach your floss ring. So that's how I'm saying somewhat organized now. Is there floss hanging every which way? Yes. But when I got home, since I had the malachite and all the floss, I decided to start this. And so this is my progress. Got some of the mountains in and the little cabin. See if I can zoom in for you. And I really love the colors on this. And I didn't have to rob my other project of the malachite. So stay tuned for that. That'll be a next year stitch. Okay. Trying to keep my ducks in a row, so to speak. I'm not sure. The ducks are running every which direction at this point, but looking at my planner to see what else I stitched. Oh, when I got home, I got out this. Like I said, I was feeling the Thanksgiving spirit. I was not in the Christmas mood yet. So I got out this pattern. This is We Gathered Together by Mill Hill. And this is, don't be mad at me, this is an out of print situation. I was able to find this through someone who was reselling it on one of the D-Stash pages. But I've seen so many people displaying this, and I fell in love with it when I saw it at the Silver Needle because they have it up on the wall there. And I was like, what is that? And I had to go hunting it. So it took a little while for me to find it. But I was finally able to get my hands on this. And I love the Pilgrims and the Native Americans and the turkey, and just everything about it is sweet to me. So I got it out. Oh, I ironed everything. So I was like, where is it? It's in a secondary pile. I have pile after pile after pile. I know. Welcome to Lisa's world of cross stitch. I acted like I was so good and I didn't start anything new while I was at the retreat, but I started more stuff when I got home. That's totally fine. Okay. So I started stitching this last year and I barely had anything done on the border. It was like a really pathetic little start. I'm stitching it on raw linen, 32 count raw linen, and I'm using the called for DMCs. It's a whole bunch of them, like a whole bunch of them. And I think I said substitute grits for the white. Yeah, and I substituted black coffee for the black. So I've got black coffee and grits represented. And so when I got home, I spent a few days on this and I got the W in there and part of the secondary border because I was just dying to get down to the Native Americans. And he is so fun. And you guys know that I have complained and complained about beading and how I don't love beading. But this was really fun. And I think because the beads just make it, it's just so true to the Native American culture. And so I really enjoyed putting the beads on it. I know, check my temperature again. But I had a lot of fun stitching on him. And he was a little hard to put down, but I don't know, I squirreled. We do that. What did I squirrel on, you might ask? Okay, so kind of going in order. I worked on We Gathered Together. I actually worked on it before. No, I worked on it today. I started two things in one day. No, that's not true. I finished Uber Turkey, so I was like, oh, I'm allowed to start. So I started in the mountains, and then I went back to We Gathered Together because I was like, oh, and then I went back to, I was like, okay, then I can get another finish. I can get some more things off my FFO list. And so I was like, I get very, I guess like finish line sometimes motivated. Like, I don't know. I start looking at my whip list and I'm like, ooh, I don't want to have 50 whips, but I do. What else did I do? I started Thanksgiving Comes Again. let me show you that. I think I told you everything about that. I started Thanksgiving Comes Again. This was a start along with my friend Lisa L Snaps. She had actually shown this, I think we both shown this on our video, our Flosstube videos, and I had just gotten it and it was in my haul, and she was debating should she start this, and I messaged her. I was like, you should start that one and I'll start it with you. So this Prairie Schooler is called Thanksgiving Comes Again, and we're stitching the big piece, although I might do some of the smalls too. I think that little turkey is, I'm a sucker for a turkey. Cute down there. So I didn't get very far on this, and I think part of the problem is where I started. I saw Lisa's and I was very jealous of her progress. She started at the bottom, so she got to do like the fun house and like the farm scene and all that first. Genius. Because I started at the top and I was working on the border and the letters and this urn, and that was fine, but it just wasn't as much fun as the house and the farm scene. So decent progress. I'm stitching this with the call for DMCs. I'm stitching it on, I found this wad of floss that I'm not sure what that goes to. Oh, I think I do know what that goes to, but it's not this project. I don't think I had shown this to you. I kitted it up with the call for DMCs. They actually still look pretty neat. And I don't even think I substituted anything. I'm using ecru, it appears. Check my temperature again. And I was going to tell you what this fabric is, and luckily there's a label on it. I'm picking up needles from another project. This is 32 count buttermilk from Coloring Cotton is the linen. And I had used this previously on another project, so I've cut part of it off, but I measured and there was plenty here to get the whole project on there. So that is my Thanksgiving Comes Again start. You know, after you iron these, you don't want to fold them up and put them back in the project bags. But I'm probably done stitching this for the season. So away she goes. Although I'm getting it back out because I should do a whip parade soon. And I don't want to have to iron that again. Whew, look at me being a genius. Okay, thinking ahead. I don't always think ahead. Okay, but yeah, it's almost whip parade time, right? Everybody loves a good whip parade. Okay, so showing you all those whips. So something else that I shouldn't say I squirreled on, because I've had this in my stash for a while and I love this piece and I wanted to start it for a while. So when Thanksgiving Day came, I pulled out this Cottage garden samplings piece called Turkey Day and told you I'm a sucker for a turkey. So that's what this wad of floss goes to. So I will try to wrangle that. Ended up having, no, I didn't have all of these, and these are not even necessarily like cute themed floss drops, but I did put them on floss drops. I did end up having to go to Michael's. One day, Michelle and her sister and I went on a little outing. We went to the quilt shop and we went to Michael's, and I kitted up a couple of projects, this being one of them. So I did substitute black coffee because 310 was called for. And I am using the called for chamomile, which is a Gentle Arts floss. There were only two called for fancy flosses, variegated flosses. The other one, I didn't have it in stash. It was called Maple Syrup, but I pulled the DMC and it was very similar to Sticks and Twigs by Classic Colorworks. So I'm using Sticks and Twigs And then the rest are going to be all the called for DMCs. And I loved this blue. I thought it was so fun. The colors in this are really vibrant. So I was excited on Thanksgiving Day to get started on Turkey Day. So I had this piece of Legacy linen from Picture This Plus in my stash. It's 32 count. So I started on Legacy and I got a pretty decent little start. I think I spent 3 or 4 days on this. And then my son came and caused another squirrel situation. I don't know what came, like how this came about exactly. My son Will is very into hunting, fishing, wildlife, and he loves animals. And so I don't know, one evening he and I were talking, and I'm hoping he's not overhearing me because this is somewhat a secret stitch. He knows about it, but he doesn't know which animal I picked to stitch. So he and I were talking about decorating his playroom, and we're kind of, turning the corner, donating some toys. He's 14 now, so just making it a little bit more him and less juvenile. So he was like, you should stitch me, I don't even remember what he said. And I was like, oh, you know what? A while back, I picked up off the freebie table a cross stitch book with some wildlife you might like. So I went and pulled this book out. This is called Wild Animals of North America, designs by Gloria and Pat. And I did look and I found another one of these on eBay. So I'm sure it's out of print because it's rather old, but I did find another one. So there were all these fun animals: mountain lion, the deer, bobcat. I'm looking at this backwards. Mountain lion, caribou, mule deer, moose, bear, buffalo, fox, and pronghorn, and then also this elk. So I'm hesitant to say it out loud. Will, are you listening? I hear him upstairs watching TV. I decided to stitch him this. So I'm not going to say it out loud in case he can't hear me. And every morning he comes down and he's like, I'll be in my sewing room, and he's like, can I come in? Because he wants to know if I'm stitching on his piece or not. So I had in stash a piece of cypress from Fiber on a Whim, and I thought this was just kind of perfect for this piece. I know that it's a little bit, in a way, kind of blending with some of the background colors, but I think it's gonna look nice. I'm happy so far with the contrast. You can see the blue, and I think once I get more of it in, you'll be able to see it even better. So obviously I didn't iron this. It's still in the hoop. It needs to stay in the hoop because he wants me to finish it for Christmas. Now, I don't know if that's really gonna happen, but I'm gonna try. I don't think this has a project bag. I was going to show you the flosses, but I don't think that they made it in here because it doesn't have a project bag. It literally came about and I started stitching. Found a needle. It's threaded and ready to go. You guys, I do use needle minders, but I don't know. I'm a messy stitcher apparently. So I did floss drop all these, and this was the other floss that I ended up having some of these out of stash, quite a few of them. I was surprised by that. I inherited my mother-in-law's DMCs, so I try really hard to go through those before I go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby or wherever I'm getting DMC or place an order on 123 Stitch. But I was short a few flosses. So Michelle and I, the day that we were kitting up, we kitted this up too. So they're really pretty colors. And there's some bright ones. You probably noticed that in the stitch. But I don't know if this is going to happen before Christmas. We'll see. We shall see. Did I tell you this was 32 count cypress? I can't remember what I said. I think I did. Okay, so that may be turning into somewhat of a focus project, although I am going to do some Christmas stitching. And one more whip that I worked on. I think this was kind of a guilt whip. I just wanted to work on this. And I feel like it's not really necessarily season specific, but it has oranges, so it felt fall. This is Grace Doth Abound by Plum Street Samplers. And Michelle and I started this together. So it's still in the hoop. And I probably need to take it out of the hoop. But look at that. Making some progress. So I was working on the border previously, and then I got in this star here. So, of course, Michelle and I are both excited to get down to the house. You will be surprised to know that I am using grits for my white, but we kitted this up at Color and Cotton, and they did a color conversion for us. So I'm not using black coffee. She had pulled rustic black from Color and Cotton, and I went ahead and used it because I had it. I'm trying to be good and use what I have on hand. So what else I need to tell you? I need to tell you that I'm stitching this on a piece of 32 count creme brulee linen from Color and Cotton also. And I love the color of this fabric. I think it's so pretty. It got me very excited to work on this piece. I feel like the fabric is almost always my, like, getting excited, jumping off. Like, when I see the fabric, I'm like, that's it. And then I'm like, okay, kit it up now. So, like I said, Michelle and I kitted this up at Color and Cotton. So the flosses are not as pretty as they were before I tore into them. But they do look really good with this fabric. And this is a stitch along, or it was a start along. Let's just, if I ever say stitch along, just assume it's really a start along. This was a start along with Michelle. So I wanted to put in a day or two on that. I think I put in 2 days on that. Yeah. And then Will got me squirreled off on the secret stitch, the Christmas gift stitch. Now, I'm not going to show you what I've already started stitching on for December, but I have Christmas stuff I'm stitching on. So I did show you my FFOs that I did finish. I did 3 FFOs on December 1st, which means I can check that off the list, right? That I got those FFOs done. I do think I'll probably, I don't know. You know how the season always gets. It gets busy. So I don't know if I'll do any more FFOs. It depends. I do have some stitching that I want to focus on that I had started last year. And, you know, as you turn the corner into December and you start thinking about January and the new year, you start thinking about goals and what you've accomplished, and you're reflecting a little bit. So I was thinking a lot about, you know, what do I want to stitch, and what, like I said, I made a list of my whips and there were 50 whips. I think that's still true. So around 48 to 50 whips. And I mean, on the one hand, who cares? Like, it's my hobby and I'm enjoying it and I'm having fun. But I do want to finish things. I don't want them just sitting in there in the baskets and the bags forever. So I think one of the things I'm going to try to do, specifically for Christmas, because I had a lot of Christmas whips, is don't start anything new. We'll see if I could do that. In the past, what I was doing was, if you finish something, you can start something, which is really another great motivator. And like I said, I'm kind of a finish line stitcher sometimes, especially when I get toward the end. Like I get very motivated to finish something. So I'm going to try to not start anything this Christmas season because it's a short stitching season. And I have several whips that I want to work on, including Be Merry from Emily Call. And what's the other pattern of hers that I'd started with the manger? I can't remember what it's called, but I'd started that last year. And I want to finish those too. And they're small, so that seems attainable. But obviously I'm going to have a pretty big focus piece with Will's hopefully Christmas finish. We'll see about that. And then I also, when I was getting out all my Christmas cross stitch and decor to put up, I was like, wow, I have a ton more fall stuff than I do Christmas. And I love fall. You guys know I love fall most of all. Like it has my heart. And so I'm not really surprised by that. But when I was putting stuff away, I was kind of like, oh, I wish I had, like I had the Halloween rolls from Lizzie Kate and I'm stitching the Christmas rolls. And I was like, I wish I had that to put up. So I might try to focus on finishing that too. We'll see. I know that sounds like a whole lot already. I had some little yappers, so I thought I would show this one off because I don't know if I've ever shown Blanco on a video. And he's scared to death. Oh my goodness. I think he thought that he was going to get in trouble because he was making a bunch of ruckus, but I can cut that out. Anyways, this is my smallest of the small ones. He's a tiny 3-pounder. So compared to Bingo, he's much smaller. Hi, Bings. Bingo's over here too. He's like, wait a minute, where's Blanco going? I kind of tricked him and told him, let's Geo, because I wanted to pick him up. I'm sitting here talking all about plans and I was interrupted. So now I got to get my train of thought back. So I just realized I still have haul to show you. This is going to be a long video. That's okay. So back to plans and circling back to like goals. And I'm going to try to just finish some things. I'm thinking about 2026. I just want to try to finish some things. So I don't know. I may maybe I adopt a finish 2 things to start 1 thing. I have a lot of big projects. I think that's what I did this year differently than what I've done in years past is that I started a lot of big projects instead of like in the past I would do kind of a mix and I had a lot of smalls. I don't really have any dough bowl finishes besides this guy. This is my only, so I need to work on that too. I may have to bring in stitching a little bit of Christmas throughout the year next year. I think that's kind of where I was going with that. Because the holiday season, I mean, you want to do fun things. And Will and I decided we're going to watch a Christmas movie every Friday between now and Christmas. And we watched Home Alone last weekend. And I love that movie. It is so funny. Tell me what your must-watch Christmas movies are. I know he has some in mind that we're going to watch and some that we've never seen before or he's never seen before. Okay, haul. Shall we talk about haul? And I will tell you that there's a good bit. And I have my basket over here and it is heaping full. And this is not going to be in any particular order because it's not, because this basket is overflowing. I'll show you this real quick. So I told you that I ordered some labels. These are iron-on labels. They're from Sweetwater. Tagged is like a subsidiary, I guess, of Sweetwater. And I believe I got these on Etsy. I'm pretty sure. But they have a website, sweetwater.cratejoy.com. And what you do is you cut these out. They come to you on these sheets and you cut them out and you iron them on and you can stitch around them. So they're for quilts or for whatever you want to put them on. And some of them are personalized. So I got personalized ones. So they have my name on them. And I got like a mix of different ones. Like some of them were fall themed, and some of them were Valentine themed, and they had some Halloween ones. I have a bunch of Halloween pillows in there I need to finish the backs of. And then I really liked this one. It just said American made. And I might use that on a quilt. It's a bigger one. So some of them are smaller and some of them are bigger. And I used to have a subscription where it was like a monthly thing from them. And it was a surprise thing. And I liked those. But then sometimes you just have like specific things that you're wanting, for finishes. So I just finally ordered some. Okay. Oh my gosh. What else is in this basket is sweet, sweet Tablemate gifts and love that I received from the retreat. So there's a lot of that too. And it is just literally all mixed in. So I'm just going to start grabbing things out of this basket and showing them to you. So they're not going to necessarily be in any particular order. Here's my Ye Old Crow pattern from Heart and Hands. That needs to be filed away. I don't know how that ended up in the basket. Okay. I told you my friend Karen came and she gifted the table all these sweet little bags and lots of goodies in here. It says, allow yourself to be beckoned toward the direction of your soul's longing. And I thought it was so interesting because even Kathy and Susan and Missy all said, like, Karen wrapped these up and she had them in tissue paper, but you could only see the color of the top. And she was like, pick a color. And every single one of us managed to pick something that seemed like it was meant for us. I mean, really, like, I love it. So I'm going to show some of the Tablemate gifts. I may not show everything that's in here, but just so you can see kind of like what people do at retreats. Karen put inside the bag sticky notes. Show like several of these little stickies and some tags for Weeks Dye Works. These are the ones that they stick to make the little tab. Does that make sense? I don't know if it does. She also did some floss drops and a little charm and a little Flosstube, and she did a freebie chart, which I can't show you, but it's a heart. And yeah, that's just kind of like an idea of what people do for Tablemate gifts. So sweet. Thank you, Karen. Like I said, these won't all be in order. And I'm not going to remember who gave me all these, but I think this was Flamingo. I'm pretty sure. I'm looking at the little charm. Sorry, I should be showing it to you. It's little leaves. And it might say in here, because sometimes people put their names in here. I'm fairly certain. So she put some stickers, some floss, some pretty scissors, which I needed those last night, some needles, a little piece of finishing fabric, a sweet little floss drop pumpkin. It is from her. The Fanciful Flamingo. It has her logo on it. So how sweet. And she also gave us some Lady Dots Creates rickrack. So she had kind of a fall theme going. And then she did a Tiger Lily project card. So thank you, Alicia. We had such a good time and such a fun group. I can't tell you. how much fun it was. And she wasn't even at my table. She's just super sweet and came around. Another Tablemate gift. Tammy Totten did this, and this is adorable. What a cute, cute idea. She got these little boxes. The label is still on here. They came from Walmart, so if anybody wants to hop on over to Walmart, it's like a little gift box. Now, some of this stuff has gotten already robbed out of here because there was some seasonal candy, so pretend the candy's here. There is perforated paper and a sweet little sled, like everything to make a little sled ornament is in here. Some fun floss and it says Santa Claus is coming to town. Sorry, I had to look at it. Y'all are gonna notice that I am getting blind. And she gave us some playing card floss drops, which are so cute with Santa Claus, and a pretty seasonal postcard. Thanks, Tam. Super sweet. I should get right on that. I can have that finished tomorrow, right? Michelle and I are always saying that to each other. Okay, I'm just gonna grab a handful of this. This was a chart that was on the freebie table. It literally is the chart, so I can't show it to you. I guess I can just, it says Texas. So I think it was Beth came over and said, Lisa, did you see this? And she grabbed this off the freebie table. So it's a really fun Texas chart. So that still counts as haul, right? Even if it was free. I picked up, Annie was at the retreat too. Annie, the proper stitcher. And I picked up some of her charts while I was there. This is Rejoice. I fell in love with these. That little chart is so sweet. And it's like makes me want to kit this up and start stitching it right away too. That was part of haul. Susan Sweet Wing Studio. Cute pattern called Pass the Pie. I thought that was so cute. Praise the Lord and pass the pie. And yes, please, I'll take pumpkin. I'm still over here eating my pumpkin pie. I made 2 of them, so I would have extra left over. I think Karen and I both picked this up. This is October House's Americana White. It is just a really simple little sampler, and every time I see it, I love it. So the called for fabric on this says it's Vintage Homespun by R&R. So I'm going to have to try to find that because I really love the way that looks. It's so nice. So Karen and I are going to have to start along on that. This was actually a gift from my friend Michelle. Making It with Michelle. A little acorn needle minder from Mad for Minders. I took needle minders for my friends. I think I also kept one for myself. That's what you do. One for you and one for me. Michelle also gave me this cute little bag charm with the coffee on it. That was super cute. I think she and I gave each other like, I'm thankful for you gifts for Thanksgiving. This is not cross stitch related, but it's quilting stuff and it's in the bag, so I'll show you. I have some Ruby Star Society black on black star fabric, and they did a fun Alice in Wonderland collection. So I picked up some of the Alice in Wonderland fabrics. Michelle is trying to get me off to buy this. There's a quilt kit for this that's really fun. Look how cute. I love Alice in Wonderland. That's a fun movie. So I also sewed on a Christmas gift, and I'm not going to show it because I don't want my dad to see the progress I made on it. And it might not happen for Christmas. It might be more of a birthday gift because you know how that happens. Christmas sneaks up on you. My friend Lisa L. Snaps made this for me, a little bag charm. I picked up this quilt binding spool at the quilt store. So when we go to the best little retreat center in Texas, you get a free day there if you spend $100. So sometimes I'm like adding stuff to cart because I'm like, it makes more sense to spend $30 and get something than to spend $30 on a retreat day. And I'm already spending money there anyways. Okay. Fabric. I got a little bit of fabric whenever I went to Shepherd's Needle. Legacy. I showed you this already because I started my turkey on it. Did you guys notice how I said that was in stash? Well, it was technically. Legacy is by Picture This Plus. Did I say that? I think I picked up all 32 count linen. Of course, I got that malachite too. I picked up Old Stationery. Old Stationery is from Seraphim. It's really pretty linen. And this is R&R. I don't know what fabric this is though. I feel like it's something brew. It doesn't say it on here. Oh, this happened. Oh my gosh, this is the most beautiful piece of fabric. When I saw this, I was like, oh, I know what I'm stitching on this. This is hand-dyed fabrics by Stephanie called Glast. Glast. It is the most beautiful olive green. And you know what I immediately thought of when I saw this fabric? I'm sure you do. I thought of the peacorn. Yes, Holly. My friend Hobbies of Holly. Holly has been stitching the Peacock, Unicorn, and Badger chart by, now I can't remember who. I need to order the chart. But I was like, I have to stitch it because this fabric is beautiful and I've been admiring hers and I think it's so amazing. So I gotta stitch the Peacorn chart. She always accidentally calls it the Peacorn, and the funniest part was whenever I was having the lady cut the fabric, I said, it's for that Peacorn chart. And she started laughing and she was like, I know exactly what you mean. And she actually wrote it on the tag. She wrote Peacorn. Oh, goodness. Good times. It's like the chart is floating around in my head back there. You guys probably already know what it is. Sometimes people come around and give candy. I've got candy from the retreat. I need to eat that or give it to the boys. Oh my goodness. Siggy's Closet had all these cute zipper pulls. Let me see if I can get this out and show it to you. It is darling. I'm sorry for the crinkle. It's a lot of crinkle. She has all these fun bag charms, and this one had little jingle bells on it, and it was like all the colors that reminded me of that Lizzie Kate piece. So I need to go put that on my Lizzie Kate bag. Friends come around and give lovely floss drops and more lovely floss drops. I picked up this was not from a cross stitch situation. This is an ornament from the Great Smoky Mountains. I need to put that on the Christmas tree. It's time to decorate. There's some more candy with some little pumpkins, sweet little notepads, some floss tags, project cards. Oh my goodness, we went in this really fun shop called the Moon Pie Shop in Pigeon Forge, and they had all this Ruby Star mini charms. So I picked up washi tape. I usually record my videos in the morning, and today Will had a dentist appointment, so I didn't end up getting this started until later in the afternoon, and I forget that at like 5:30 it starts getting dark. So my dogs are on a schedule, and they want to be fed on a schedule. Are your dogs like that? Back to these fabrics from the Moon Pie shop. Twirl, Ruby Star. Maybe I'll pop in pictures of these. Teddy and the Bears. These are some really fun fabric lines, and bird is the word. So I'm sure there's some bags in my future. Also at one of the gift shops in Pigeon Forge, I think it was Mama Bears, maybe. I picked up this little jewelry case to turn into a little on-the-go sewing box of sorts. Someone at the retreat gave us this really cute little pin with the spool on it. It's so adorable. I ended up putting that in there and some other little things, but I'll have to fix that up in my spare time, right? Ladies come around. People are just so generous at retreats. This was from Melanie Wood, and people just come around and give you little sweet little things. She gave us these little bears, little charms, and some little scissors and some 310. I'm gonna have such a mess out. That's okay. I picked up some pins. These are from Jabco. And more floss drops. Oh, these were what I wanted to show you. These are from Lisa B. Harvey Reber. And I think she sells these exclusively. Nope, she has a website. Handcrafted by Harvey on Etsy. And they're the embroidered floss drops I was telling you about. So I got the bear one, and then I got an acorn and a turkey, and I got Michelle a squirrel. I've already given it to her. Lots of floss drops got handed out. Fun needle minders and floss bling. I think that was from Kathy. Oh yeah, it was from Kathy. Some things, obviously, they already gotten taken apart. She gave us some of this DMC that she put some antiquing spray on. So that's super fun. I can't wait to use that. The dog is outside barking. Hopefully you can't hear that. Missy gave us in her little sweet Tablemate gift this little light bulb. This is a little clear ornament with some floss in it. Isn't that cute? So she also gave us a devotional. It was a Christmas Advent devotional, and it goes through Christmas hymns, and it's been so fun, but I'm already using it. So it's upstairs by my bed. So I won't be able to show you that. Kathy also gave us some fuzzy socks, which are great for retreats, and some fun, like giant rickrack trim. And she gave us a bag. And I was like, I already started putting stuff in the bag. Kathy made these sweet little project bags. And I was going to kit this up. And so I started putting it in the project bag. This is from the Proper Stitcher Christmas Blessings. Aren't those cute? And these were brand new releases, so it was fun to pick those up. Prior to the retreat, I had ordered a Como Stitches bag from Jess, so I got these cowboy boots, which, yes, they remind me of Tennessee, but they also remind me of Texas. There's some freebie charts from Jess Como Stitches. I picked up this cute thread bed for holiday stitching, which, as y'all can see with my thread mess, I could use this right now. There was a little bit of stuff in this bag that just needs to be put away. Oh, let me show you this. Well, this is not what I was going to show you that I was so excited about, but this is all the floss for the peacorn chart. Holy cow. I need to get the peacorn chart. I can put the fabric with it now. I'm going to show you, I better be careful what I say. One more Tablemate gift. This was from Susan of Sweet Wing Studio. She gave us this cute little, what do you call this? You put your spoons on it in the kitchen. I don't know what you call it. And the spurtle. And I know what this is called because it has a label on it that tells you what a spurtle is. A spurtle's old and sturdy still. It stirs both food and cheer. And friends like you make every day feel cozy, calm, and dear. I thought that was so sweet. I don't have a spurtle, so I do now. Not from the retreat, but it's in my lap. My friend Brooke, Stitched by the Brook, sent holiday cheer to me via Michelle. Thank you so much. This sweet bag. I love it. It's beautiful. And we did a smalls exchange between friends. And what we did was we stitched a pinker and pumpkin pattern. So if you remember, I showed mine in the last video, and I was a lucky recipient of Missy's. So she stitched this fun little crop with the pumpkin and finished it on this beautiful paddle. And I told her it was meant for me because look at the bow. I mean, if that doesn't scream black coffee and grits, I don't know what does. So she did a beautiful job stitching this and finishing it. And inside the package, which it's already in the pantry, or I would show it to you, she gave me some of her homemade or home tapped, how do you say it? Syrup, maple syrup from Maine. So I was so lucky to get that. I told her I was gonna hide it from the boys. It was gonna be my secret syrup. And she also gave me these. How stinking cute are these with little trims on them? Oh, I adore these. These are so cute. So thank you, Missy, again. That was a really fun thing to do. So kind of in lieu of a smalls exchange, we did a smalls exchange within our friend group. We had about 8 people participate in our smalls exchange. Now, some people they were overachievers and did both the smalls exchange, but we had a lot of fun with that. And our theme was just stitch something, a freebie pattern from Pinker and Pumpkin. And so it was a lot of fun. I was very glad we did it. Okay, I think I showed most of the haul. There's some stuff in here that just needs to be put away. If you gave me something and I didn't show it, it's not because I don't love it. It might be because I'm already using it. Or I ate it. People are so generous at retreats. We had the best time. We had the best time. Oh, before I left, I got an email from Color and Cotton saying, you have a credit to spend. And so I was like, you don't have to tell me twice. I eyed these scissors at Color and Cotton. And then I told myself, you don't need those. But I couldn't stop thinking about them. So these fun little black scissors. So they were free. So they should just go in my stocking from Santa, right? That's what I was thinking. And then they so generously sent some free flosses. So they sent pumpkin pie. And then I'm not sure what these were. They just say a gift for you, but I'm gonna guess that's pumpkin pie because it looks like it's pretty close to the same color. It might be slightly different. No, I think it's the same. Anyway, thank you for the free floss and the scissors. I probably earned those scissors. I think that you earn some rewards for spending there. Okay, I made a gigantic mess. I think I showed you everything. To talk about reading, I didn't really do a whole lot of reading. I do have my book. I'm still reading the Thursday Murder Club series, The Man Who Dies Twice. The Man Who Died Twice is what it's called. And I'm like into the second section, I guess. She kind of has like, he kind of has sections in that book. And it's getting more exciting, and I never want to give away a murder mystery, but it's really a fun book. And the characters are so funny. So it's a continuation of the same characters from the first book. And I'm just a slow reader right now at this point in my life. So forgive me for that, but I am enjoying the book. And like I said, after I finished The Nightingale, sometimes I feel like with books that are so moving, you need a minute to kind of process, or at least I do before I dive into another book. But I took my book on my trip, and probably every night it sat on the nightstand in the hotel, and I just was too tired to read even. I'd watch TV or do something that didn't require a lot of thinking. Oh my goodness, it looks like this table exploded, and I'm only putting this stuff back in the basket because I need to take it back in the sewing room and put it away, but also because I'm trying to unbury my planner and see if there's anything else I needed to tell you about or that I'm forgetting. So let's see. My goodness, that was a lot of haul. If you stuck with me this far, thanks. Thanks for watching. And you guys, this is video number 25. I can't even believe that. And I can't believe how another year is flying by. So the next time I see you, it will be January, and I will record a end of year whip parade, but I'll probably do that toward the end of December. And of course, then I'll do my usual regular December recap video, probably that toward the end of December, 1st of January. And of course, you know, New Year's is in there. So I know we talked kind of briefly about plans. I told you I'm not one to always plan my fun. I like to have some goals, and I'm kind of still thinking about those and how I want to go forward with next year. I did get my new planner. I downloaded my cross stitch planner from Katie the Naptime Stitcher. And I took it and I printed it out and I took it down to FedEx and they bound it up. It's actually still in my sewing room. So I started sitting down and thinking about, you know, goals and kind of like on a month-to-month basis, like what I want to do and what I want to stitch. I really want to focus on whips. I think a lot of people say that. This year, I really was like, free reign, start as many projects as you want to, do whatever you want, live life and have a fun time. And I did. And now I think that I'm up to 50 whips. I'm like, whoo, I think I need to finish some whips. So I think I want to finish some whips in 2026. And I'll probably pick some focus pieces. I do know there are a few things that I want to stitch this next year, one of which I pulled out. I'm going to have to edit this video anyway, so let me grab it off my table. If you recall, this past year, I stitched this. Well, actually, I stitched this last year, but I had this framed this year. Farm Fresh by Country Cottage Needleworks. I'm pretty certain it could be Little House Needleworks. I'm so sorry. I get these two mixed up because they're so similar. But I had mentioned that I wanted to hang this and I wanted to stitch this piece and flank it and frame it in the same like barn red frame. So I want to stitch the old red barn this year, and that and the peacorn are my two planned quote unquote starts. But I don't really have like a date or a timeline for those. I just know that I want to stitch them. So I would like to finish the old red barn because I already have this piece hanging on this side of my hutch here. And I would love to have this one hanging it, you know, mirroring it over here as a companion piece I go with. So I'll probably kit it up with similar floss as what I used. I might brighten up the red just a little bit. I think I used that barn red. It's real faded, but it's fun. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll use that for the barn. I like it. So those are kind of my only like plans that are like set in stone. And then I'm going to sit down between now and the end of the year and think a little bit more about some goals. And obviously, finishing has been something the last 2 years that I've focused on. And I like my finish 2 projects a month. I feel like that's an attainable goal, and I've been able to do that most months. And on the months that I didn't get to do that, I made it up, you know, later. So I like that. So I'll probably keep that. It seems to work and not be too overwhelming for me. So, like I said, I like to not schedule my fun too much, and I don't want my fun to feel like a job ever. So that's what we're here to do, is enjoy cross stitching our hobby. And I just want to say thank you. And since it will be the new year before I see you again, I want to tell you to have a Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. And I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving season too. I hope you'll get to spend some time with your family and do some cozy stitching by the fire this winter. Winter will be here before we know it. Technically still fall, but it will be winter soon, soon. I know a lot of people are already having winter weather um, up north. You guys have been having crazy weather. But down here in the south, it's still been, I don't know, I think we've had some colder weather, but it's true fall still. So I'm still waiting for some leaves to drop off my trees. So, anyway, I think I've rambled and yammered enough, and I want to just say thank you and have a really wonderful season. Bye.